Hello everyone, and welcome to The Man Behind the Curtain. I'm Randy Young, the guy in the red shoes, and I've been in the video production business my entire career, and it's taken me around the world a few times. But more importantly, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the most creative people in television, and boy do they have stories to tell about the business and the people who make it happen. We've always been told, ignore the man behind the curtain, but you can talk to me.
Okay, let's get started. I'm talking to a very good friend of mine, a woman I've known for years. She owns a business, has run it very, very well. We're going to talk about that a bit. It's a teleprompting business, and she's the best teleprompter operator I've ever worked with. She's helped me tremendously in every show we've been on together. Her name is Bethal Bird. Hello, Bethel.
Hello, Randy.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty darn well, thank you.
I know we've been talking about doing this for a long time, and I finally twisted your arm hard enough to do it.
Yes, it's still a little sore, but I'll try and make it through.
Okay. Let me ask you the question I've asked everybody. How did you get started? What led you here?
Well, how far back do you want to go?
Touch in the beginnings and then a little more focus on the teleprompter.
Okay. When I was 3 years old, my parents did regional, semi-professional theater, summer stock, dinner theater, repertory.
As actors?
Well, in those environments, you do everything.
Right. Okay.
When you're not acting, you're running front of house, or you're building sets, everybody does everything. So I grew up in that kind of an environment, not a job specific environment. But at 3 years old, I had to learn how to do a somersault to be a croquet ball in Alice in Wonderland, and yes, I can still do a somersault, but don't ask me to do it.
All right. And what led you to prompting?
Prompting was a meandering road. Of course, I was in theater, through school, and went to college. I majored in technical theater with a lighting design concentration, so that was kind of where I figured I'd end up. I got out of school. I started doing some group electric work. I got a job, a staff job with Xerox Corporation in their video department.
In Dallas?
In Dallas,
right.
Yes. And I learned so much about video. We built a studio from scratch, made all the cables, even made the boards. We just did everything, and it was a great learning experience. This was at the time when Xerox was developing the fax machine, but at the same time they were inventing the graphic user interface.
Okay.
And they also had a partnership with a little Japanese company to try and create a computer that would fit inside a briefcase. And sadly, before I say that, because of that, I was learning computers early on.
Okay.
But the bad side of it is that Xerox had all of these great ideas. That little Japanese company was Toshiba. And they, after like 3 years, they said, this is never going to
go anywhere. Yeah, let's get rid of this.
And they sold their share back to Toshiba. And of course, the next year, Toshiba comes out with its first laptop. And of course, we all know who ended up exploiting the graphic user interface first. So they had great scientists, technical scientists, but they had no marketing except for a fax machine.
Well, okay, that's a start.
Yeah, and the copiers. They were great at those things. Anyway, I eventually went on to do grip electric work freelance in the Dallas area again. And since I knew computers, I was on the set one day, and an actor was talking about this machine that his friend had invented in LA that eliminated the scrolling paper, thank you, from falling off and busting the audio guy's shots, right? Mm-hmm. And it ran on an Atari gaming computer, and it was he sent his friend one of these and said, see if you can get some work for this. And the guy said, I don't I'm an actor. I don't want to do that. And since, again, I knew computers, he said, do you want this machine? Well, I went home to Mitch and I said, what do you think? Because I looked at him and I said, I'm a lighting person. I don't do that. And Mitch said, shut up and take it. And the rest is history.
Very good history, too.
It was a good history. It was interesting because when we first started out, the clients that trusted us enough to try this out, and we had to take paper prompter systems with us as backups.
As backups?
Yeah.
Ugh. I remember those paper prompters.
I know.
Oh, God. Scrolling, cutting them in half and inserting changes into
Yeah, I remember when of course, liquid paper was great because you could make changes and just write them in. And then they came out with this tape that you could just put over the letters and do it, and you didn't even have to brush it. It was like, this stuff was magical.
So I remember working news in my first job on a local TV station, and we had the paper teleprompters. And oh boy, they were just a pain. We also had this big giant typewriter that typed in fonts this big on that paper. So you had to bang all this out and then bang it all out to replace it, tear it apart, put it on.
Well, I think the next generation from that was the computer paper used to be just one long thing that would feed through the so
it was just computer printer paper,
right, one long thing. So we could do it on a computer as one long, and it was only this wide. It was a regular font size, but they put a CCTV camera above it and shot it up close and sent that to the monitor. That was the next.
It wasn't quite that sophisticated.
Well, hang out with the right people.
No, obviously you got a problem. Well, it's changed over the years. What's the latest now? How do you manage it now?
I kind of think of prompting as the word department, and because things have come about, as most of some people want they want separate note slides in PowerPoint made up with their script in it, and then we coordinate the notes with the graphics. Some people want presenter view shown in PowerPoint, and we do that as well because we're the word department, and it's not just about displaying the words, it's about editing, it's about formatting it so that it phrases properly and you can read it without thinking. It's not just
taking the copy and plopping it into a computer and showing it.
Right, in whatever program you feel comfortable in. Yeah.
Right. It's so much more. And I've seen you essentially rewrite presentations on the fly while they're reading along with you in their rehearsals and writing it, frankly, better than it was given to you.
Well, sometimes things are awkward for the presenter and they stop and they think, and I'm not trying to rewrite it. I just put a word in there to maybe shift their thought process so that they can reorder something and they can come up with what's comfortable for them to say. I'm not trying to rewrite their script,
no.
but if I can,
but you're right, comfortable to say.
Yeah, because the written word is not always easy to it doesn't flow necessarily from the mouth.
Right.
It may flow fine in your brain.
Well, that's why there are speech writers.
Indeed.
Not just memo writers.
Indeed. Well, don't confuse me with a speech writer. I'm an editor. I can edit.
Okay, I like the editing part. Now, that, of course, has built your career to where you are today. And you've had several people working for you. You've run a small company. Tell me about running a small company and what are the challenges there?
Well, anytime you run a company and also do what those people do, you're kind of really doing 2 to 3 people's jobs. Fortunately, Mitch and I own the company together, so he takes care of all of the financial end of it and the hardware end of it, and then I take care of the scheduling. I do their travel for them most of the time. I maintain and set up and buy and do all of the computer stuff.
But you also maintain the
software
relationship
stuff.
with all the companies and the producers.
Yes.
And your
Absolutely.
operators.
Absolutely.
That's a very difficult job.
Absolutely. Well, it's really easy when you have great people.
Right.
And TexPrompt would be nothing without our people.
I've always been very impressed with you people. They're good, they're smart, they're all of equal high quality.
Thank you.
And,
I agree.
But what about the challenges? You're a woman running a business. Do you run into that kind of issue?
Of course, it was worse, if that's the right word. It was.
I don't know. You're the word department.
Well, you got me there. It was more noticeable, more intense, more bigoted. In the '80s, when we first started doing this, it's gotten a little better, but there have been a lot of times where I'm on a set or backstage, and especially back then when I may have been the only woman on the maybe a PA, or but I mean now you see women on the lighting crew, on the there
The staging crew, camera crew.
Yeah, everywhere. There weren't even too many women show callers when I was starting out on this, and there's a lot. So there are more women on set, but I find that some people still tend to, especially with the prompter department, because it appears to be a somewhat relatively unskilled position.
I would find disagreement with that.
Well, this is what I observe: is people think I'm just slamming in a script and moving my little mouse, and that's all I do. But they don't understand that our people, at least, are very technically inclined. When COVID hit, my first thought was, we need to figure out a way to continue to prompt people over the internet that didn't interfere with a Zoom call, so that the entire Zoom attending audience saw the shared screen of prompter. So I was very fortunate to be included in a group of people who got together, for almost 2 months, 3, 4, 5 days a week, and we just hammered it out until we figured something out. Audio guys, the show callers, the ASMs, just a whole pack of people. And during that time, with help from some very smart people, we figured out how to do a zero latency prompter system that was completely separate, and it didn't use very many computer resources, because, as you remember, Zoom took up all the resources.
All the resources in the world.
Computer in your world. So we had a very, like I said, low latency, low resource drain solution that was really simple for the person to log into on the other end, and anybody could log into it that needed to see it.
Were you able to capitalize on that? All that hard work?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it kept us working all through COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We still do it at times, but we stream all over the world to do this, and it's been a great system for us.
Now, and let me get back to the woman-owned business. It disqualifies you on bids and contracts to check that little box, woman-owned business. Do you find that's helped you at all?
Well, to be honest, we are not. Mitch and I are 50-50. So we don't qualify as a woman-owned business.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because if I had 51, and we did that on purpose, because to our minds, it shouldn't matter.
Yes, but
I didn't feel right using that as. I didn't want people hiring me just because I was a woman.
Just because they could then tick it off of their little HR box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted people to hire us because we're the best.
Well, that's a brave stance to take, and yeah, obviously you've earned it. I'm not questioning that.
Well, you had to work harder for it, probably,
okay,
because of that.
And you did. But that is an advantage that larger corporations look at when they look through their bids and their their purchasing departments.
We're seldom hired directly by a corporation, though. It's almost always production companies, and if the production company ticks that box for their client, then their client doesn't really go much deeper into the subcontractors. So we didn't find it a detriment at all to not be a woman-owned business.
I think I know all of your operators, or a majority of them. Worked with them several times each. And I only remember one male, and the rest being female, as we talked about. But equally all good. But has that had any effect on your business? Do you find anything different about that, or you just look at it as even
we've had 3 or 4 males throughout the years. Okay. All of our people have come to us through referrals, through a friend, a relative, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a conscious decision to hire a guy or a woman, and it didn't matter to me. I don't care.
Yeah, one way or the other.
I just wanted to make sure that they could live up to our high expectations.
And from a user's point of view and my point of view, with one of your people behind me, I feel comfortable always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's
let's talk about younger people. Do you actively look for younger people or interns or people to develop into the business?
Through the years, we have indeed brought people on, trained them. I'd say the success rate of people we brought on and trained to people who stayed was not great. So,
is it because it's a hard job to learn,
or
hard to live up to expectations, or?
It's fundamentally, it's not a difficult job. What's difficult, and this is what people don't understand when they say, "Oh, I'd love to do that," and then we get into how much we do beyond what you see. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of organization. There's a lot of file management. There's a lot of
I can't imagine the file management and the versions and the making sure you save what you just did, know how to go back to get it,
file management,
where it is and where it's going for. Oh,
absolutely. And that's what people have trouble with, and that's what I cannot have. I can't spend months training somebody on file management. So if somebody doesn't get it instinctively, then they probably won't make it, and most of them did. So now that we've been around for a long time, and we've kind of gotten into a rhythm, and we have our clients and our regulars, and we get new clients periodically, and some drop. You know how it goes. It's the nature of the business. We're pretty stable right now with the number of operators and the clients. We do have 4-ish subcontractors, independent prompter people who we've known and worked with for years and trusted. Mm-hmm. And one of them used to be TexPrompt proper and went out on their own. But those are my first calls. So I can staff up to 10 people at a time. So, and that's as big as I need to be.
Well, that covers you for most things, I presume. Between general sessions and breakout rooms, and broadcast things, whatever. You can provide a pretty good staff.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, is it a good business for younger people to get into? Now, obviously,
it's a great
business. They need to find some experience, I think, before they step into your level or your company's level.
Right.
But is it a good business to start up and to grow into?
I think so. I mean, I think it's a great business.
Yeah.
And we need younger people. This whole industry needs younger people.
I would agree with that.
I think if people want to get into prompting, then I think they need to go through the same channels, however, that you'd go through to become a producer or a video director, or You have to start. You have to pay your dues.
Sure.
You have to start. You get on site as a PA. See how everything works. See what those prompter people do besides scroll their wheel.
Right.
You know, see what an ASM does besides tell people where to stand on stage. See what a director does besides sit there and go,
Yeah.
you know, see it all. And then you can decide if this is something that you'd like to do. I think that's really important. I don't think I can just take somebody out of Denny's and say, hey,
Come learn.
come learn. Yeah.
Going forward, are there changes in the prompting world? New technologies, new things that are coming up?
You know, that's a really good question because prompting is fundamentally the same thing as it was when it was paper. I mean, but what we're seeing is there are different displays. I mean, some people display us on big LEDs in the back of the room. Some people, you know, there are these things called jumbo brights, which are, it's a pretty cool thing.
Is that the one that tracks the
Yes,
presenter?
they can track with the presenter. It's an expensive solution, sadly, because not only do you have to rent the units, which are pretty pricey, but you have to have a separate operator because they have to manually track the.
And that keeps the audience from turning around and reading the prompt.
Yes,
And it keeps the prompter in line for easy reading by the
it does
presenter.
because they have a Fresnel lens on the front that only has a 4 degrees each way off of center range for viewing.
Right.
So yes, it keeps the audience from turning around and seeing it. But you know, like I said, it depends on where your priorities are. You know, and you can spend a whole boatload of money on a big LED wall in the back too. You know.
Sure.
And-
All right. Let's talk about a little bit about the process. You get a call from some producer you know and love, and would like TexPrompt to supply operators for like the show we're working on right now. What's your first step going forward? Besides saying yes, we're available.
One of the things that I always, maybe not on the first call, but before we start getting into travel and details and such like that, I think a lot of producers don't remember that if Monday's a travel day on their schedule and Tuesday morning rehearsals start, like tech starts maybe, or even rehearsals, or even offline rehearsals. Monday is no longer just a travel day because it takes time to format the files. So if you
Sure.
want me ready by Monday morning, Tuesday morning,
sure.
then Monday is not just a travel day. It's a full day with equipment and you know, working, and it's not, so we have to have time to format the files. And that gets kind of lost in the scheduling sometimes. I think the value of an offline room is sometimes underrated. And so I will ask questions like, you know, how many people are presenting? Are they using scrolling prompter? Do they want notes? Do they want to use Excel? No, I don't ask that, but
But you can make it happen if you
I
had
can
to.
make it happen. How are the scripts coming to us? Are they going to be in a table format? Are we going to be extracting notes from a PowerPoint presentation? Is it going to be a Word doc? Are they bullets? There's a lot of thought that goes into translating what the presenter or speaker, speech writer, or whoever's creating them, how that gets translated into whatever format it needs to be presented in. So that
A lot of
needs to be.
mechanical work going into that.
It is, absolutely. And we have, we have macros and we have things that can do some of the tasks
Right.
fairly quickly. but you still have to go through everything line by line and make sure it's right.
Right.
Because that's what we do. We want it to be right.
Not to mention all the custom work you do for me of fixing my paper so I can have the paper in front of me. Because I could be a pain in the ass, I know.
Well, that's another interview.
Thank you for not stringing that up. When you get on site and you start to work with these executives, you're working in offline with them, or you're working sometimes a week before at their headquarters in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, wherever, shows in Vegas. And what I notice the most is that if the presenter knows anybody on the crew, it's Bethel. And they talk to you personally from the
Sometimes they do, and it's a very important relationship. Now, it doesn't always happen, but there are a lot of times they come to understand that it's us.
You're their security blanket.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. Happy to be that for somebody. Yeah, and it's cool. I like it. It's because at that point we're peers.
Right.
He's not my boss, and I'm not his subject.
Right.
We're peers, and we're working together to make him or her be the best presenter, or them on stage.
Right. Wow.
It's kind of cool, really.
I marvel at that relationship because that has such reassuring, and the fact that they feel comfortable enough to communicate to you in front of a lot of people what makes them happy, because that whole conversation is very narrow, very direct to each other.
Yeah.
And they can start what they want to revise in a sentence, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because you've been typing it all along. That's a very coveted
There's
relationship.
a little bit of a mind meld that can happen. It's
Sure.
and like I said, it's pretty powerful when it happens. And
But they're not going to know anybody else's name that's on the crew. They're going to know you.
I think they know the ASM.
Sure. Yeah. The ASM gets right in front of them and puts the mic, and I get that. But the personal relationship is there. So we've talked about some of the technology. We've talked about the company a little bit. We talked about your folks that you work with. Now, let's talk about stories. Every show comes off with a story at some point in time. You get all done and you work the long hours, you send in the invoice, and a week later you're talking to somebody over a cocktail and you've got the story, and it starts with, well, remember when?
Wow.
Because I know you save shows,
Oh.
save presentations. Yes, I know it for a fact.
Well, then you remember better than I do.
But without those words working up there for them, they can get completely befuddled and lost.
Well, that's true, and I mean, there have been times when I've had to get on the backup and put something in that kind of got somebody back on track.
Sure.
Um,
I've seen you roll the, hey, we're talking about this now, not this over here.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Or throwing in time cues or time's up cues.
Yep, absolutely. We can do all of that, and that's when it is kind of a two-way thing. And they tend to, but there's probably just as many times that they ignore it, but I can't do anything about that.
Are there any tricks and tips to the trade that you would share without giving away the good?
Whatsoever.
Now, you've been doing this for a lot of years, and every time I see you walk into a show the first time, you've got bags of stuff. You've got a box of computers, notebooks under your arm, and your own personal stuff, and oh my God. How do you manage to travel with all of that, and do you need all that?
Well, of course I need it, or I wouldn't have it. But, I mean, what I carry now is a lot less than what I used to carry, because everything is so much smaller. So my gear case has shrunk as well. You know, I always have a work computer and 2 prompting computers. I have little lights that I like that give me ambient light instead of direct light, and I have my own little way of keeping notes, so I have to have those little papers, and I have my lumbar pillow, and but I also
Those are creature comforts. How about work?
well, I carry connectors and adapters, and I carry my own switch. I
Which
think
frankly most people don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've worked with teleprompter operators that they walk in with a computer, and that's about it.
Well, see, when we started this, we were, other than the guy who invented this, we were the only people in the country doing electronic teleprompting.
But the basic technology is pretty straightforward. And do you see it changing going forward?
Well, let me ask you this. There's change to make it better,
Right.
and there's change for change's sake. At this point, I think we're at the change for change's sake. That's not to say something won't come out that makes things a lot better. I mean, you know, we share files on the internet instead of sneaker net. You know, sticks back to each other. You know, no more floppy disks running back.
No more hard drives in people's hip pockets.
Yeah. You know, so we use the internet a lot to make things. Well, even like on this, the offline room is a 20-minute walk away.
Right.
So if we had to manually hand off files, that would be a disaster.
Right.
But so that's a change to make it better. You know, do we need to set up a fiber system everywhere we go? No, it'd be cool,
Yeah.
but we don't need it. It's change for change's sake.
Right. Well, I know you had some trepidations here trying
Yes.
to talk to me. I
Yes.
hope it was okay, and I hope it was comfortable for you, because I think it was marvelous. I just want to say thank you. All right?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Randy.